It's high noon.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am DeathBlow and today I want to tell you why the Philadelphia Fusion are on top of the Overwatch League 2020 standings with a 4-0 record. During the preseason there were no shortage of analysts and fans who were high on Philly heading into the year, and while I certainly was not one of them, I don't know that many expected the team to perform this well immediately out of the gate. Newly acquired off-tank Fury was a big factor in their preseason hype, so with Fury on the bench and Philly all alone on top of the leaderboard, their performance deserves some extra attention. After watching the matches live, it was apparent that a big factor in their success has been Sato. I have been outwardly and strongly negative in my opinion of Sato since he got the starting job, but to be honest, I was impressed, and I still am, by the way. So I started to watch some tape wanting to feature him in this video, and I saw two things when I did this. First is the big plays. They're pretty apparent, and we've all seen them on the broadcast. The other thing I saw was wasted shatters. Some of them, to be honest, are just really good plays from the opponent, and not really his fault. Some of them are also ugly, and some of them are pretty hard to watch. But if you watch long enough, you'll see that with almost any main tank in the league. The big problem here was the frequency. There's a lot of them. To me, another player just stood out more often than the rest of them. That's Ivy. He was the least hyped signing of the offseason by a long shot for the Philly Fusion, and it's possible that he will prove to be a bigger asset for this team than Fury, Alarm, Sato, Carpe, any of them. So today, we're going to take a look at exactly what it is about Ivy's play that makes him such a valuable asset for Philadelphia. To show there's no hard feelings, the first play we're going to take a look at is a beautiful example of Ivy and Sato teaming up together to earn a team fight win for the Philadelphia Fusion. This is from the Week 2 battle against the Florida Mayhem, and we're on Lijiang Tower here. Now, the fight is going to begin when BQB deploys the Symmetra ultimate a little too far forward, in my opinion. The misuse of this ultimate is the key for Philadelphia and what causes them to initiate and start the fight. They do this by throwing down Ivy's Blizzard on the middle of the point to split up the team. Fate isn't going to be frozen because he has Fortify as he's playing Orisa at this point. However, Carrion and Byram are forced to retreat, and Chris as well goes into a corner of the map. Ivy's counterpart Yaki is able to avoid CC by using his ice block to reset the freeze timer. But with the Symmetra ultimate just a little bit too far forward, Sato's able to step through that barrier, through the Orisa shield, and hit a very, very big Earth Shatter. It gets a lot of value considering BQB is already frozen, but as you can see, Carrion and Byram are both caught out by this shatter, and though they were able to avoid the blizzard that initially divided the team, they are knocked to the ground and able to be cleaned up by Philadelphia as they have a massive advantage in this engagement thanks to the phenomenal use of ultimates from both Sato and Ivy. Next, I want to take a look at a fight on Nepal against the Washington Justice. Everyone remembers this map and this point specifically for Carpe's clutch pop-off at the end, and rightfully so. Casters are very fond of talking about the importance of the first fight in the control game mode, and for good reason. If Philly's unable to take first possession of the point, they're not going to have the percentage to win outright at the end of Carpe's big play. Washington would then have the advantage in the next fight as Carpe would be on a suboptimal hero like Widowmaker, and it would no longer be a surprise. So how did the Fusion win this fight? The answer's pretty simple. Ivy carried. His first wall here is just perfect. It isolates the Reinhardt entirely from the rest of his team, and if not for Stratus and his wall being able to counter and keep his tank alive, this fight would be over immediately. Roar's charge takes him out of line of sight of his healers. He no longer has a safe retreat or way to get back into the team fight and re-engage. His only option then is to go all the way around and go through the back line and rejoin his team. This is where Ivy puts up his second wall. He cuts the Washington Justice in half. Elevote pushes a little too deep into the Philly backline, is low on HP and blocked off from healers by shields. And a third wall comes in from Ivy. This wall breaks line of sight on the healers for 1 second too long for his tanks to survive. Both of them drop, and Philadelphia has an easy path to the point and takes an early lead. This past weekend, Philadelphia went against the Toronto Defiant, and as I featured in my last video, they love to run the Sombra Doomfist dive defense, and if not for a clutch play from Ivy, I might be featuring Toronto in a second video in a row. Philly successfully captured point A and moved on to attacking point B with 5 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock. 5 minutes and 15 seconds of that was spent just running face first into the Toronto defense, unable to get anything done while Agilities racked up kills and Surefour harassed the backline with hacks. Going into the last fight, they only needed to get 1 tick in order to win the map, which would prove to be vital as this match went all the way to map 5. Ivy and Carpe are able to isolate Beast on Winston and get a kill on him very early in this fight to give Philadelphia the advantage. With help from an EMP, Agilities is able to take down Sato and Alarm, and suddenly Philly is in trouble. 2 kills on Assault is usually more than enough for the defense to secure the fight win. If the Fusion want any chance at winning this map, they have to get the rest of these kills fast. After finishing off Nevix and sniping Surefour, Ivy freezes the point, which is able to help the team take down Doomfist and Winston. That is more than enough time for Philadelphia to take the point and the map. Last but not least, I want to talk about the most difficult Mei discipline in Overwatch: getting value out of your ice wall in open space. It's very easy to use it in a hallway, but Ivy makes it look easy to use in an empty parking lot. Philly starts out on the attack and leaves through the right door. Ivy immediately walls behind the main tank and is able to separate them entirely from the rest of the backline. Without a shield to protect them, Corey and AimGod die to Ivy, and the Philadelphia Fusion are able to push forward and overwhelm the rest of the Washington Justice and end what can be a very long and drawn-out defensive hold at the spawn door on Havana. Obviously, it's still early in the 2020 season, and given the circumstances that surround this year, plenty of teams haven't even played yet. But when I watch the Philadelphia Fusion play, I see crisp, clean execution. A lot of it does revolve around the Mei play, but not all of it. Newcomers Alarm and Funny Astro have been absolutely impenetrable in the backline. They're never out of position, they're never being picked. Sato is so improved from his previous performances, possibly in large part because of the new support players and the new DPS line and the synergy he seems to have with Ivy. And while Poco's playing very well, it's hard to imagine Fury's never going to find the stage, and he has always been considered to be one of the best off-tank players in the world. In the past, consistency has always been the Achilles heel of the Philadelphia Fusion. We're going to have to wait and see over time whether or not that's changed. But for now, Philly fans, I think you can be very hopeful and very excited about what the 2020 season is going to hold for you. Thank you all for tuning in and watching this video. Thank you so much. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know who you think the most important piece of the Philadelphia Fusion's roster has been through the first 4 games. Hit the bell if you want to get notifications for when these videos go live. We do also have a podcast that records every Monday and gets released every Tuesday. I've really enjoyed making these videos so far. I'm hoping I can get one out for you every week. I can't guarantee it quite yet, but that is my goal currently. So please tune in next week, hopefully on Wednesday again, for the next one after we get the Houston homestand. Keep your fingers crossed for me that the Outlaws are going to be able to get their first win of the season. I would love to make a video about them and how they've improved. They just have to do it first. But enough of my misery. I'll spare you guys. Thanks once again. We will see you next time. Remember,
It's Hanu.